Hey there, welcome back to this module 4 part 4 where we are going to create measures for KPIs in Power BI desktop app. And we are going to start with the simpler ones, then we will gradually move towards the more complex one. Here I'm into my Power BI desktop app where you can see my all tables are over here. If you would like to see the data model, this is over here, which we did it in our previous data modeling video. Now come over here, and whenever you would like to create a measure, you have two options. One is new measure, another is quick measure. Quick measure, you don't need to learn DAX for this. You can simply come here and you can even ask with the Copilot if you would like to. For that, you have to sign in. Once you do sign in, for example, my ID is connected biconsultingpro.com. Let's see if I can sign in with the help of this ID. Yes, it's asking me. So let me go from here. I hope so it's gonna let me sign in, and yes, here we are. Let me go to this Copilot one, and here you can select your calculation, what kind of calculation you would like to perform. Then also you can add filters over here. So this is a quick way that you can do that, but we are not gonna do it. What we are gonna do, we are gonna create from the scratch, and that's the ideal way a developer should do. Quick measure is something for the business people who doesn't have much knowledge about it and still they would like to do that. Now we are going to click on this new measure tab, and you would see on the top you would find this formula bar where we are going to write our measures. I'm going to show you a trick as well so that you can move your measures from one table to another. For that, hold on. What I'm going to do, very first we are going to create total sales revenue. So total sales revenue, that should be the name of your measure. And if you would like to expand this tab, you can do that over here. You can just shift and then press your return or enter key and you can expand it. You can also zoom in, zoom out if you are using the Windows laptop, and you can do that easily. But I hope so you can see right now on your screen how I'm going to write it out. So very first, we have to use a function which is the DAX function to calculate the totals. And for that, we are going to use sum. As soon as you write it, you can see that we have different functions, which is starting from sum, summarize, SUMX, etc. But we need to use only sum. Then you have to start with your parentheses, and everything should be covered in your parentheses. And here you just need to write the name of the column. Our column name over here is sales amount. And you can see that I have sales amount in two tables. But what I really want to use it from the internet sales amount. And internet sales table is my table, and then you have to close it. See, it's very simple. You just need to write your DAX function, then your column name, which is the syntax over here. And Microsoft Power BI desktop app is going to guide you step by step as well. Once you've done that, you can either hit simply the enter button or the return key or click over here. Now you see on your right hand side, your new measure has been created. If I just would like to show you, you can simply drag and drop over here whenever you would like to create any visualization, and automatically it's going to detect it. You can change it if you would like to. For example, you would like to change it into a table. You just need to click on it and it's going to convert it into a table. But we don't need a table. We need a KPI card, which is over here. That's how we are going to do that. So this is my total sales, and you can adjust length, breadth, or height as well according to you. We are going to use them later during our data visualization module. But right now, we are just going to create the measures. Now, as I mentioned, that whenever you create any measures over here, you should move them into a table. Either you should keep them in the table where it's going to use of the fields. For example, if I'm using fact internet sales table, so I should keep them over here. Another way to arrange them is to create a separate table with the name measure, and you can move them over there. So in order to create a table, you can simply come here and say enter data. Now you can give it a name, and we are going to give it a name as measure. This is going to be my table name. And right now I'm just going to leave with this column only, and I'm not going to do anything. Click on this load data. And after some time, you would see that the table is getting load. And if I'll go to the data view, there won't be any data in this table. Here, again merge it, and this is my measure table. And here you see there's no data. Now, I'll come back over here, and what I really want to do, I want to move my measure into my measure table. So go to this fact internet sales table or your internet sales table. Select the measure that you have created. By the way, I created in the customer table by chance. So select it. As soon as you select over here on left hand side top corner, you will see the name and the home table. So you can select the right table where you would like to move, and it's going to move into that table. It's gone from here. Now you have to do this and see this is over here. Now you can delete this column because we are not going to use this column anyway. So I'm going to say, okay, delete the column 1. Yes. and now my measure is there. Initially we created this column because if you don't have any column, you cannot use that table or you cannot load that table. Now all the measures we are going to create only in this table. Now again, when you have to create a measure, either you can just simply select this table and then start creating the measures over here like this, or click on these three dots, more options, and say new measure. And this time we are going to create unit sold. So unit sold is going to be the name, then equal sign. From here we have to write our DAX function, which is sum, and this time my column name would be order quantity. So let's write it, order quantity, and here again I have in both tables, but I'm going to use internet sales table, and again hit the enter button and you will see you have unit solds. Third part is average transaction value. That means your average sales amount. That's we are going to create over here. So again here I'm going to say new measure and their average transaction value. This is my basically average sales value or average sales amount. So you can write average and then your sales amount column and hit the enter button. So far we have created three different measures which are very simple to create, but now we are going to use SUMX DAX function. And why SUMX DAX function? Whenever we are going to use any other DAX function inside a DAX function, or whenever we are using an expression, then we have to use X kind of functions like SUMX or MinX, like that. For that, we are again gonna create a new measure, and this would be our sales by product category. So sales by product category. Always write the names of the measures, columns, or your table names, which is very easy to understand by the business people, like the people who doesn't know anything about technical fields. That's how they can read this data and they can get the information from this. If you are going to make it too technical, they cannot read it. So sales by product category, and in order to do that, you have to write SUMX and this, and now you can see that it's going to return the sum of an expression evaluated for each row in a table. And what each row? First, we have to use another DAX function, which is going to be our related table, because related table is going to help you to get the data or filter the data between two tables. So here you can see that it returns the related table filter so that it only includes the related rows. You don't need to get the data from other rows. So here we are going to use the product table, which is here. Then you have to close it so that it's a one function. And we are going to make a relationship of this table for the related rows with the sales amount. So let's write sales amount. You cannot write it, so you have to write first internet sales table. Let me try. Okay, over here you cannot use your sales amount directly, so you have to use this measure, and that's how it's gonna work. So hit the enter button, and we will check that later on whether it's working or not. Although if you really would like to check it, you can simply drag and drop and you can see that it's working. So that's how you do, and once you are going to apply your corresponding filters, it can move accordingly. So don't worry about that. We will check that later on during our visualization part. All right. Now we have to also do sales by region, and for that we need to use another table which is sales territory. And in order to do that, you have to again create a measure here, create new measure, type it sales by region, and again come here SUMX, and this time, as I mentioned, we have to use sales territory, which is this one. Then you have to use with the related table DAX function. So related table, you can close it. Then now you have to write your expression, and in this time my expression, either you can use like sum and then sales amount, that's gonna work for you, or you can directly type that measure which you have already created. So either write sales amount like this, so this is the same measure that we have created earlier, or better directly type your measure name, which is over here, total sales revenue. Both ways are going to work fine. Now you can simply hit the enter button or close it in the parenthesis, and this is going to be created over here. These are done. Now what we have to create, we have to create profit margin. And in order to create the profit margin, you have to again create a new measure, and we are going to give it a name, profit margin. Now just understand how we are going to create the profit margin. First, you have to create a measure which is going to give you total sales revenue, which is we have already created. Then you have to also check the total product cost. Then you have to deduct this total product cost from the sales amount, and then you need to divide it by the total sales amount. So total sales amount minus your product cost divided by total sales amount. That's how you have to create it. Now, if I'm just going to type it, okay, I type it, okay, total sales revenue minus total product cost and divided by my total sales. This is not going to work, because sometimes what happens, if you are getting divided by 0, when my total sales revenue is 0, then you are going to get the error, which we are not going to do. So what we are going to do, first we are going to create a variable. Okay, so variable is always useful whenever we create, and I'm going to call it total product cost. That's how you create a variable, and these are going to be very helpful whenever you have to write efficient DAX coding. And also remember that if your DAX code is not formatted, it's not a DAX. So always format it. You can format within the Power BI, or you can also format it through any external tools. Now, this would be my sum of product cost, and this is my total product cost column, which I can use it, and I can hit the enter button. So this is done. Now I also need my another total cost revenue, which I have already created, so I don't need to do that. So what I'm going to do over here, I'm going to write return, and I'm going to use a DAX function, which is divide. This is very important. So this function is basically going to help you to get the result whenever you need to divide, but also if your denominator is 0, it's not going to let that affect, and you can alternatively put whether you want to return a 0 or blank value, which you can see over here as well. Safe divided function with ability to handle divided by 0 case. So in this case, we need now our total sales revenue minus my variable, which is total product cost, and then you have to simply comma it, and you have to write what's your denominator. Denominator is going to be my total sales revenue, and alternative value, which I would like to return over here, which is going to be blank, and then you can simply close the parenthesis. That's how you create profit margin. Don't worry guys, you are going to get this PBX file, and you can try them out yourself too. Take it easy. It can be challenging. It can be for the very first time be like very difficult to understand, but if you will go step by step, you can learn everything. Now we will go through once very quickly through our KPIs. We have this customer segmentation, new versus returning analysis. In order to create this CLV, we have to write one DAX code. Over here, quickly, I would like to take you that what I adjusted over here in order to create that one. First of all, we will go through these DAX functions, that what they are doing, and then I'll let you know that how I did write this one. So calculate is a DAX function which you are going to use to modify the filter context. And what is filter over here? So all except is a filter. Count rows is going to count total number of rows in a table. Over here, I'm counting it using this related table, which is going to relate or going to get the related values from another table. And what two tables are over here that we are trying to relate is the internet sales table and the customer table, so that we would get to know that how many customers are related to that particular sales. That's how we are going to calculate the CLV. So how I started writing it, first of all, you have to write this SUMX clause over here. And what it's doing, SUMX is basically going to give you the total sales, but only the sales that are related to this one. So that's why I write over here related table, internet sales, and then my total sales amount over here. That's what we are trying to get it over here. Basically, it's your total sales only. Then I'm saying that all except, I'm saying I want to get the all except this one. So it's going to remove all the filters. It's just going to keep the filter on this customer table, on customer key. All except is a DAX function which is going to return you a table, and in that one, it's going to only apply the filter that we are going to mention over here, and it's going to remove any other one. And then I'm going to divide it by this one. So that's how I'm calculating this CLV. I know this can be a little bit overwhelming whenever we are trying to create it, and maybe you are thinking that I'm going too fast, but trust me, whenever you are going through this very first time, it's going to feel like that. You would get used to it, and you would learn more in the future. When I started my career journey, I also started with very basic ones like sum, mean, max, average, etc. But over the years, I learned all these DAX functions. However, if you still have any doubt or any questions, please leave a question in the Q&A section, and I'm going to definitely help you out. After that, what we are going to do in the next module, we are going to start creating our different report design pages. Please do remember that always spend your 80% of time in getting the requirements, understanding the requirements, creating your logics or clarifying the logics, then get the data, clean the data in Power BI, and also creating your data model. Only 20% time you should spend on creating the report. And why is that? Because if your data model or your semantic model or your data set is correct, then your report is going to be always correct.